Hello everyone, and welcome to Omni-ID's webinar, Introducing the Next Generation of On-Metal RFID Labels. I'm Mary Sheridan, Product Marketing Manager and the moderator of today's webinar. Before we start, let's make sure everyone's familiar with the webinar control panel. The panel is on the right side of your screen. You can minimize the panel by clicking the double arrow in the upper left corner. The panel can then be expanded again by clicking the same arrow. In addition, all participants will be muted during the webinar, but we really would like to hear from you, so please ask questions, share comments, even challenge our ideas using the question and answer panel on the right side of your GoToWebinar panel anytime during the webinar. We will have a Q&A session at the end, and we'll take as many of your questions as possible. I'm pleased to introduce our two presenters for today's webinar, Ed Nabrodsky, Chief Solutions Officer, and Matt Baruzzi, Product Manager. Let's begin with a short agenda. We will start with a bit about Omni-ID and jump right into the applications for our on-metal labels. Next, we'll get specific about the product and the options and how we test and validate. This will be followed by a competitive review and then the Q&A. Let's begin with Matt.
So over to you, Ed. I'll take over for a bit. But it's great to be on the call with you. Thank you all for attending. I know that it's difficult to take time out of the day, so we hope that you'll find what we talk about today very informative as we announce a really revolutionary product in the industry and a big step forward. Omni-ID is the industry leader in harsh RFID, or what we call hard tagging. If you don't know us, you should. We are globally trading. We're in many countries in all the regions around the world and supporting some of the very largest customers on the planet doing tagging. We started more than a decade ago with the original on-metal patents, a new plasmonic structure, as we call it, to isolate the structure from metal surfaces. And since then, we've developed the broadest range and manufactured more on-metal tags than any other vendor by far. So this is just another line in our many firsts coming to marketplace. The genesis, though, of this particular on-metal label comes from some of the typical applications we're involved in. One of our core markets is IT devices. We tag millions of IT devices all over the world. And the need to put these simple labels onto metal surfaces and racks in the IT world or in some of the IT assets that you might see in your office or in labs was a big driving force for this product line. It still remains one of our core applications. But we also tag many other things, different office equipment and furniture. We have a significant presence in hotel assets because of that, in hospitals, with very similar use cases. Another very significant application this tag was designed for was for curved metal surfaces. There's a tremendous number of pipes in the marketplace that need to be tagged, pipe spools, and cylinders, different gas and liquid cylinders that are very significant in their volumes and in their need to be tracked and traced. A third major market for us that is really significant for Omni-ID are containers and racks. We do a lot of work in manufacturing, also in logistics and supply chain. And these returnable containers and racks that flow through those processes are often metal in nature and often need a visual indicator in addition to the RFID encoding for operators to be able to use them. So this product, perfect for those three markets at the very least: IT devices, curved metal pipes, cylinders, and containers and racks. Those are some of the risks. But don't just think about metal, even though we call them on-metal labels. Another significant application is liquids. And liquids have some of the same detuning properties that metal does. So things like blood bags, things like water coolers, places where a standard RFID dipole really won't work well. These on-metal labels really work well as well. It's just a little bit long for us to say on-metal and on-liquid. But those liquid applications have been significant for us, and we've sold millions of tags into those markets as well. So with that backdrop about Omni-ID and this product line and its genesis, I'd like Matt to take us through some of the details of the product and explain why it can be such a great benefit to you, our customer.
Okay, thank you, Ed. So Back in about 2012, Omni-ID was the first to market with at the time they were the only ultra-thin on-metal labels, RFID enabled labels that could go through thermal transfer printers. Our competitors were very quick to release similar products, and they also challenged us on our read range to size ratio. Since we launched the products back in 2012, we've been listening to your feedback and experience from using our products in the real world. And taking on board all your valuable feedback, we've now developed our latest generation of IQ products. So what we have here is a technology platform that enables us to provide you with a wide range of products that will meet all your needs. So today, we raise the bar to the next level with the Omni-ID new on-metal labels. Our products now have the smallest footprint on the market with the largest read range when compared to similar products from the competitors. We have got an extremely aggressive selling price for you here, and as we'll talk about in coming slides, we've also listened to your feedback. We've improved our adhesive performance on our IQs, and our latest range of IQs are suitable now for curved surfaces. We have developed an extremely wide range of product options, and we can customize these products to meet your every need. As I'm sure you're aware, there are numerous RFID-enabled printers on the market, and they all have different specifications. They all work slightly differently. And to allow you to easily print and encode the IQs, we've developed multiple product options that will enable you to use our IQ labels with your printer. As part of this technology platform that we've developed, we've also developed our own in-house ability to fully manufacture from the base materials these IQ tags. And this enables us to provide you with the very best RF consistency. And we are very confident that our products are market leading for RF consistency. So, having said that, today we're very proud to introduce our new family of IQ tags. We've developed regional variants, and these are very useful where maximum read range and smallest footprint is key. So as you can see on this slide, we've got our new regional IQ 150. This has a footprint of 60 millimeters by 12.5 millimeters, and you'll experience a read range of up to 1.6 meters. This is the smallest member of our IQ family. Next up is the regional IQ 300. It shares the same width as its little brother, but is slightly longer at 100 millimeters. And this product, you will be able to achieve a read range of up to 4 meters with the IQ 300. Next, we have our Generation 2 IQ 600. Now, as some of you know, we had a first generation product, and this latest IQ 600 is now half the size of its previous generation. So that measures 100 millimeters by 24. We've pretty much half the size, and we are able to achieve the same read range performance. Now, for those of you that require on-metal labels for RTI applications, and the RTIs go around a global transit, or assets that are deployed worldwide, we're now introducing today our global IQs. We have a IQ 100 GS, which measures 40 by 40 millimeters. It's a nice square size tag, and this will give you a read range of up to 1 meter. And we have its bigger brother, which is the IQ 500 GS. This has a dimensions of 100 by 40 millimeters, so it's about twice the width of an IQ 600 regional, but it will give you global performance. So the IQ 150 and the IQ 600 regional and the IQ 100 GS are available today. The IQ 300 regional and the IQ 500 GS will be available by the end of Q2. So place your orders now. Let's look at some of the product specification and options. So as I mentioned, there are a lot of options here that we're offering, and we're going to go through these in depth in the coming slides. So as we mentioned, the IQ 150, 300 and 600 are regional, and as such we offer them in EU, which is the SC band, or we offer them in US variants for the FCC, the US customers. The IQ 100 GS and 500 GS are global products, and these will work in any region in the world. Our latest IQ family comes with 2 IC variants, so you've got the choice to pick the right IC for you. We're offering the Monza R6 and the Monza 4QT, and there's also the option of having a ground plane or not having a ground plane, and we're going to cover that in depth. What's the requirement for a ground plane and how that affects you. So all our products are suitable now for curved surfaces. We're using a new adhesive. It's Avery Dennison HPA 2922. It's a fantastic adhesive, and they've all been designed specifically and they've been optimized for on metal and on liquid performance. However, as you'll see in the coming slides, our ground plane variants are also excellent off metal, and in some cases achieve greater read range off metal. The product temperature rating is -20 to 85 degrees C. All products are IP68 rated for ingress protection. We can provide ATEX and C1D1 approved products upon request. So let's go through and discuss these IC options in a little bit more depth. So as we mentioned, we've got the Monza R6 and the 4QT option. The Monza R6 IC is the latest IC from Impinj, and it has a far superior read range, a far superior read and write sensitivity that enables us to have a greater read range. The Monza R6 also has a new feature called Auto Tune, and in basic terms, what this does, it helps the tag perform over a wider range of frequencies. The R6 has a broader performance, and this reduces detuning effects that you may have in the field. So the R6 option, you'll notice less variation due to detuning effects. So to be able to achieve the significantly higher sensitivity, Impinj has had to sacrifice some non-critical features. And so if you look at the table here, we can see that the R6 does not support user memory. It has a marginally smaller EPC. And the R6 can be perma-locked, but it requires a custom command. It's something that we can do. So if you order our service bureau option, we can encode and permanently lock the R6s for you. However, if you need user memory or you need the additional functionality that's not supported by the R6, then we have obviously an option for you. You can order the Monza 4QT. Now, the 4QT has approximately 20% less read range than the R6. It can be ordered as a custom option, and it supports a wider range of features such as temporary lock of the memory banks and kill feature. So let's talk a little bit now about our ground plane options. So you have the option of ordering the products with or without a ground plane. Now, the non-ground plane options were designed specifically for the Zebra ZT410 printer, and the reason for this is that the Zebra ZT410 printer uses a fairly low power ceramic antenna array. It's got a number of very small low power antennas that are placed directly below the printhead. So as the tag passes through the printer, the antenna is below the tag, and as they're fairly low power, they're not able to energize the ground plane tags. So if you opt for the version without a ground plane, you'll be able to encode with a ZT410. So just to be clear, if you're using a ZT410, please order the non-ground plane version. So what does this ground plane mean? So for people who are non-technical, I'm gonna make this very simple, and please forgive me if you are more technically minded. But the ground plane, in very basic terms, what it allows us to do is capture and contain the RF within the tag. So you can see that on the top image, the RF field is contained within the tag. Without a ground plane, you're actually relying on the metallic assets to form the ground plane. So the performance of a tag without the ground plane is heavily dependent on the asset. And so what I mean by this, if you've got a painted asset or plastic coated metal, then obviously you've got a gap between the tag and the asset. And this gap will affect the performance of the tag. It will cause some detuning, and also different types of metal, because you're relying on the metal of the asset. The different assets with different metal compositions can also affect the performance, the RF performance of the tag. So the ground plane version will give you a consistent performance with various different asset types. However, the non-ground plane, you will notice RF performance variation depending on your asset type. The standard product, so the product without the ground plane, we tuned it to be placed directly on aluminium, and having coated metals can be an advantage with the non-ground plane version. So let me give you an example of this. We've got a customer, and this is going back a number of months now. They've tagged plastic pallets. It's a customer who's designed plastic pallets, and to strengthen their pallets, they've got a steel section that is basically embedded within the pallet. It's a couple of millimeters below the surface of the plastic. So what we did for this customer is we used the non-ground plane to our advantage, and we provided them a custom IQ600. It was a non-ground plane version, and we custom tuned it to take into account the couple of millimeters of plastic. And with a IQ600, normally you're looking at a read range of up to 6 meters. We were able to achieve approximately 15 meters with this customized non-ground plane version. So we can use non-ground plane to our advantage when providing a custom tuned RF tag. The IQ600 with a ground plane, also I have to tell you, it is our most balanced product ever. The IQ600 with a ground plane is absolutely fantastic, and we're going to show you some test results of that tag. So just to summarize, if you're ordering a GP version, you know, and I mean when you're ordering a ground plane version, this will really simplify your deployment process, as it enables you to have a single tag. You can have any asset type. It can be a metal asset, it can be painted steel cabinets, it can be plastic coated metals, it can be plastic, it can be, you know, water containers. The ground plane version will really let you have a single tag to tag any asset type, and it will give you consistent performance. So let's take a look at this in a little bit more detail. So here what we're showing is a bar chart, and what we've done here, we've plotted the read range of a tag placed on various different types of assets relative to it being placed on one of our Omni-ID aluminium test plates that we use in our lab. So 100% on this graph is the read range that you'd expect to see on an Omni-ID test plate. And the blue bar is the tag with a ground plane, and the orange bar is a tag without the ground plane. And to be clear, we're looking at IQ600 data, but the other tags, you'll see the similar kind of correlation. So obviously when you place a tag on aluminium, it's the same thing directly on aluminium. Clean aluminium is the same thing as on the ID test plate, so you're going to see 100% of the expected read range, whether you're using ground plane or no ground plane. Now when you move to steel, what we see here is that on a steel asset with a ground plane, there's absolutely no effect on RF. You're going to get 100% of your expected read range. However, if you're using a non-ground plane tag, the steel is less conductive, and what we're seeing here is a 50% reduction in read range. Looking at plastic, with a ground plane, there's only a very small degradation. You're looking at about 97% there, the expected read range with a ground plane on plastic. Again, if you take the non-ground plane version without the ground plane, you're going to experience degradation in performance. On water, and what we've tested here are water containers for water dispensers for drinking. And we notice here that with a ground plane you can achieve 80% of the expected on-metal read range, and without the ground plane you're below 20%. And on a pure off-metal application here. You're going to see slightly better performance off metal with a ground plane, and without a ground plane, you're about 35%. So what we can see here is that really with a ground plane, you're going to have fantastic, consistent performance. Without a ground plane, you've just got to be a little careful on what types of asset you place a tag on. Okay, so I just want to reiterate here that our IQ600 with a ground plane is our most consistent, it's our most balanced product that Omni-ID has ever made. And what you can see here on the screen is a frequency response graph showing the frequency response of the IQ600. This happens to be an EU variant that we've tested. You can see it's operating at 866 megahertz. But you'll observe the same thing with the US tags. And what you can see here is whether you place it on aluminium, which is a yellow, or you place it on steel, which is a slightly green color, or if you place it completely off metal, which is the orange graph, or even on plastic, which is a pink one, you're going to see it very consistent. It's very similar. It's a very balanced performance. It's absolutely the best product we've done in relation to balanced products. So let's talk a little bit about adhesives, because this has been a big thing for us. So we've transitioned our adhesives that we use on our IQ to a high quality product from Avery Dennison. We now use the high performance HPA 2922, which enables us to have a far superior adhesive bond when compared to our previous generation of products. Now, Avery Dennison is a market leader company in the adhesive world. It's an American company, and it manufactures and supplies a whole range of pressure sensitive adhesives. All adhesives that we use in the construction of our IQs are now ordered from Europe, and we order them directly from Avery Dennison Europe, and this ensures the highest standards in the adhesives. The HPA 2922 is a high performance acrylic adhesive. It has fantastic moisture resistance. It has very good resistance to UV. It has excellent solvent resistance, and the adhesive itself is rated to 130 degrees C continuous. It can even go up to above 200 degrees C for short periods. Obviously, that's not the tag, that's purely the adhesive. But what I'm trying to share with you here is that we've greatly overrated our adhesive to enable us to make sure that we have the best adhesive performance on these tags. So when you apply the tag to an asset, it's highly recommended that you clean the asset with an alcohol wipe or an IPA. You need to make sure that the surface is clean and free from dirt or grease, and this will really help ensure you've got the best bond strength. Tags should be applied to the assets at room temperature, and as a minimum, Avery Dennison recommend 10 degrees C. However, we feel that 15 degrees C or above really helps ensure the optimal adhesion. The issue here is that below 10 degrees C, the adhesive, the backing adhesive, it becomes hard, and when you apply it to an asset when it's hard, it simply won't form that bond as well. So please do apply them above 10 degrees C. The adhesive has an excellent initial tag, and it ensures an immediate adhesion. However, it takes up to 24 hours for the adhesive to fully bond. So when you apply the adhesive to the asset, clean the asset, apply the tag to the asset above 10 degrees C, apply a bit of light pressure to it, and allow it 24 hours to achieve the full optimal bond. So the HPA 2922 is our standard adhesive offering, and that's what we offer as standard as our backing adhesive on all our IQs. However, we're more than happy to customize our backing adhesive. If you have an application that has textured surfaces and you need a thicker adhesive to conform to that textured adhesive, we're happy to look at that for you. If you've got assets that are potentially rusty and they need a different adhesive, we're more than happy to customize our product. If you've got an adhesive that you'd like to recommend, we can look into that. We can provide customization on our backing adhesives. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about curved surfaces. So our HPA 2922 that we use from Avery Dennison, it operates fantastically on flat surfaces and curved surfaces. We've tested hundreds of tags on curved surfaces, and we're talking about on metallic assets, like you can see in this picture here. We've also tested plastic curved surfaces. We've tested them on flat surfaces. We've done HALT testing, which is thermal testing from -20 to 85 degrees C for 700 hours, and we've observed no degradation in performance. The adhesives, the tags have stayed bonded down. There's been no delamination whatsoever. So the new IQs are validated for curved surfaces with a diameter greater than 115 millimeters. And we wouldn't recommend going lower than diameter of 150 millimeters. And this is because you'll experience detuning effect in the RF. So if you go for diameters smaller than 115 millimeters, you'll experience degraded RF performance, and that's purely because of the degradation. What we would recommend is if you're placing the tag along a longitude of a very small radius, then you're okay. Like that second picture on the right there is showing a much smaller diameter or radius, and we place it along the longitude for the RF, that would be okay. Okay, so let's look at the typical construction of an IQ tag. So on the top, you've got a PET printable face stock. It's a high quality, bright white face stock that's print receptive, so you can print directly on it. This is stuck down onto our inlay, which is basically the antenna structure, and it contains the Monza R6 or the Monza 4QT IC of your choice. Now, this is all formed on a layer of PET, and it has got a layer of adhesive between the inlay PET layer that sticks it down to our closed cell dielectric material. And below the closed cell dielectric material, we've got our adhesive layer, and that then allows us to bond the ground plane, should you choose it, to the closed cell dielectric material. Then below the ground plane, we've got our backing adhesive, and this is bonded to the release liner, so you receive the tags on a roll on the release liner. Now, I want to point out here that every single layer of adhesive in this BOM is the premium HPA 2922. We've not accepted a cheaper or a thinner, poorer performing adhesive to form any of these layers. These are every single layer of adhesive here are the premium HPA 2922 from Avery Dennison. And this really enables us to have fantastic performance on curved surfaces. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about customizations. So as those of you who are already Omni-ID customers, you'll know that we offer Service Bureau, and what this means is that we can pre-encode your tags for you. If you need them encoding, so if you need the EPC encoding, or if you need the user memory encoding, if you need the tags perma-locked for the R6, or if you want a temporary lock on the Monza 4QT, if you want them password locks on the 4QT, we can do all of that for you as part of our Service Bureau offering. And as part of that same offering, we also offer black and white variable print, so this could be for your barcodes, for your logos, for ID numbers, any human readable print, any black and white print on your label we can do. We can also do static full color print, so if you've got a color logo that you want on there, that can be provided as an extra service. If you need to protect that print, we can offer a range of over laminates to protect the print and make sure that it does not rub off, should it be in contact with any chemicals. We can also offer perforated release liners, so we can perforate through the frame label on the release liner, and if you need to singulate the tags, this can help you, that helps some customers. We can also do custom RF tuned tags as discussed earlier. We customize these at no length. If you've got a specific application and you need more performance, we can look into this. We can provide custom tuned labels. And as I've also mentioned, we can provide custom backing adhesives. If you've got a specific backing adhesive that you'd like to use, we can look into doing that. So let's talk a little bit about Omni-ID's testing and validation. Omni-ID has its own dedicated product validation and testing team, and what they do is they test materials, they test thousands of materials and thousands of products every day. That's their key role. Our laboratory is ISO 9001 and 14001 certified. We validate and test all our products and materials with thorough environmental, mechanical, and RF test regime. And it includes soak and cycle, highly accelerated lifetime testing, from very high temperatures down to well below freezing. And that enables us to ensure we've got consistent performance and we've got the best products in the market. For our latest platform, the IQs, we've been researching and testing materials in our laboratory for the IQs for a number of months, and actually we're just coming over at a year now that we've been looking into this. We've tested countless different adhesives, countless different dielectric materials, countless different face stocks. We've tested thousands and thousands of these. We've conducted many thousands of RF measurements. We've conducted thousands of thermal exposures, and we are very confident now that we've come up with the best bill of materials for these products. Only products that pass our most stringent tests are ever released to the market. You know, we're not scared of failing batches. If there's something wrong with the materials, we test every material when they come into the factory. We've got an IQC team. They test everything that comes in. If anything is not up to the mark, we reject the whole batch. We're not scared of doing that. We will only ship the best products. So our new range of IQs have been fully tested and validated for applications, as I mentioned before, on metal and non-metallic curved surfaces, flat surfaces, curved surfaces up to 150 millimeter diameter to avoid RF degradation. They're fully approved, and we've given them a temperature from -20 to 85 degrees C, and we've observed no degradation in performance whatsoever. There's been absolutely no delamination, no variation in performance, no adhesive issues whatsoever. We believe we have the market-leading product here. So let's talk about printing, because this is very important to our customers. So our IQ labels can be printed and encoded on your site using an RFID-enabled thermal barcode printer. Now, we've tested the market-leading printers, and what we've done is we've developed a range of options to support all printers, and this will really aid printing and encoding with the majority of printers. So we've got ground plane options, and we've got release liner options, so we can offer thicker release liners for the ZT410, because we've had customers who've noticed that the tags slip in the printer. So if you've got a ZT410, remember we previously discussed, go for the non-ground plane option. We can offer you a release liner that's got more grip on the back, and that will help with your printing. It's worth saying that Zebra have recently released a custom ZT410, and this custom printer is specific for on-metal tags. And we've had a discussion with Zebra. We haven't tested the printer ourselves. We're very keen to. However, we've had a discussion with Zebra, and their new custom ZT410 should work fantastic with the non-ground plane tags. However, as I said, we haven't tested it, but it should work great, and Zebra have reassured us that their new ZT410 custom will work great. Okay, so let's have a look at some of these tags printing. So here what we can see is an IQ tag that's about to be printed on a Sato CL4NX printer. And we've printed thousands of these IQ tags in this printer successfully. And actually, over the last year, we printed at least 100,000 in our facility. We've experienced the lowest void rate ever with these. You know, you can print absolutely thousands. You can print thousands, and you will not experience a single void. This printer has absolutely no issues with printing and encoding any of our IQ tags. But as I said, we've got options to aid and support you with any market-leading printer. Okay, so let's take a look at some competitor analysis that we've done. So we've looked at two of our main competitors, competitor A and competitor B. And if you look at size, we've got the smallest products on the market. In some cases, we're up to 50% smaller. So it depends on which variant you're looking at. Some variants are definitely smaller, but they're not as small as others. But especially if you look at the IQ600, we're 50% smaller. And if you look at the read range, we've also got a significantly improved read range compared to our competitors. And we've achieved this using the R6 IC and our advanced antenna design techniques. Also, because we use our own in-house manufacturing facility, we're able to control the variance of the product. And what we've seen here with competitor A on there, we've noticed a 50% variation in read range with competitor A, and competitor B, which will remain nameless, their products are handmade. And this means that they've got high variability. Generally, they've got poor appearance on the roll, simply because they're handmade, and they've got high variability. Competitor A, what they've done is to ensure compatibility with a ZT410, they've done a cut in their ground plane, and this is difficult to manufacture consistently. We've observed large variation in RF, and we believe that this is related to the cut in the ground plane. So our products have got the best consistency, the least variation, currently the smallest on the market, and they will give you the best read range. So we've taken on board all your feedback, and now our new IQs are simpler and easier to print and encode with the various options. We have the best read range to size ratio on the market. Our IQ600 is now 50% smaller than the previous generation. We've improved our adhesive performance, and it means that our tags are suitable for curved surfaces. We have numerous and many combinations of product options available. We're more than happy to customize products. So expect more from Omni-ID and pay less. So as we said, we've got IC options. You can have the tag with a Monza R6, or you can have it with a Monza 4QT. We've got ground plane options. We've got non-ground plane options. We've got release liner options to aid with printer. We can offer printing, encoding, and customization. The tags will work with a range of printers of your choice. We can offer you sample rolls of 100 tags, and this is to allow you to choose which option is best for you. Our tags have got the best performance on the market. They're the most consistent products with the least variability, and with a ground plane, they're balanced. Also, we found that our tags are priced about 20 to 25% less than the competition. So we are sure we can offer adhesive customization and overlaminate customizations. And also, it's important to note that we always oversupply by 5%. And so if you order a roll of, say, 1,000, we'll give you 1,020. We offer you 5% extra, no extra charge. And the reason why we do this is to help you with any wastage that you may encounter with printer setup or calibration. However, once you set up your printer correctly, there should be absolutely no wastage. But we do offer the extra 5%. Okay, so I'll hand you over to Ed, who will go through the Q&A section.
Thanks, Matt. Great presentation and a lot of great detail, I think. I'm hoping that everyone who's attended, who may not have been an expert on metal labels before, now has certainly raised the game and understands some of the nuances and the difficulties in producing these products. We're really confident we're making a great offer here to the marketplace, but don't take our word for it. Come and call us and try some sample packs and understand the great move forward this generation is. Okay, I've got a number of questions. Matt, why don't you and I just have a conversation across some of these questions? We'll try and answer as many as we can. We've had quite a few come in as we've been talking here, and so I'll try and go through some of those. So the first question, I think you explained pretty well, but let's just go into a little more depth. Matt, we're being asked, can these Omni-ID tags be used with any RFID reader? You explained a couple, but maybe you can give more detail about that.
Sure. So our tags are fully compliant with the EPC Class 1 Gen 2 standard, and what this means is that they will work with any EPC Class 1 Gen 2 compliant reader. as long as you make sure that it's calibrated for the region of operation. So if you're using a regional product, let's say you're in America, as long as you're using a Class 1 Gen 2 certified US band RFID reader, you'll be okay. Now, our Omni-ID sales rep can help you select the most suitable reader for your application. You know, there are numerous kinds of readers. You can have handheld, fixed readers. Readers are better suited for portal applications. So if you need help, don't hesitate to contact one of our sales representatives.
Yep, great answer. And so if anyone on the call is worried about that at all, there's a wide range, and as Matt said, we can certainly help you find the right one. Another question we had, what benefits do these tags bring to IT device or IT asset applications? I think that came from some of my comments early on in the presentation. It's a market, as I said, that we really lead in. Omni-ID tags millions of IT assets every day. Well, maybe not every day. We wish it was every day, but we've tagged many millions of assets in that marketplace. And it is particularly challenging. One of the things that makes it challenging is that some IT assets, it's difficult to tell where there's plastic and where there's metal. And some customers who use dipole labels and attempt to put them on the plastic surfaces can have a poor placement and then lose their asset read capability altogether. So the benefit here is that you can have your operators tag anywhere on the IT asset and not worry about whether it's plastic or metal parts, which again is sometimes very difficult to discern with today's products. The other important part about these tags is that, of course, you're printing on them as well as encoding them. And for IT device applications, whether you're in a lab or in a data center, the visual indicator, being able to line up the asset ID with the asset that's been tagged, is really important for the workers there. So those are two of the main reasons why you really need to use a non-metal label for IT device applications. I hope that answers the question of that particular listener. I have a question here, Matt, about our customization capabilities. There was a couple of notes about that as you went through it, but can you explain a little bit more about what you do to customize and how I can get a customized tag for my application?
Okay, so if you have an application that requires customization, so by this we're talking about, you know, if our standard product is not suitable, you need it to be improved. As long as the opportunity size is large enough, you can discuss that with our sales rep. We're more than happy to customize the products. We can make the products larger. So, for example, if you need to print more information on the tag, we've made these tags very small now. And if there's not enough space to print all your information, we can customize the tags. We can make them bigger if that's what you need. You know, we're more than happy to make them bigger. That will give you more space to put as much information as you need on there. If you need a custom adhesive because you've got an asset and the HPA 2922 is not right for that type of asset, then we're happy to look at different adhesives. If you need an overlaminate to protect the print, we're more than happy to do that. And if you need custom RF tunings, as per that customer that had these pallets with the embedded metal, we're more than happy to look at custom RF tuning and produce a completely custom product for your application. Please do contact our sales rep to discuss that further.
Another quick follow-up, Matt, actually, as you were going through that, we had another question come in about ESD. Can you address that as well? Can we do an anti-static customization?
Yeah, so we have actually looked at this for a customer. It may well be that customer who's asking the question. So we have a face stock. What we do, if your application is ESD sensitive, we can replace our standard face stock with an ESD proof face stock, and it allows our products to be ESD proof.
Perfect. Excellent. Okay. I have someone here asking a question. They're a government buyer, and they're looking for TAA compliant products. Do we offer them? So I'll just answer that. Of course, we have a major manufacturing facility in China that we've talked about a lot, that we do a lot of manufacturing, but we're really proud of our government and military business here in the U.S. We comply with the TAA programs across a broad range of our catalog, and we do that through local manufacturing right here in the U.S. These products fit that category, and so for all of our government contracts and our military buyers that we work with, we're very proud to produce these same products here in the U.S. to satisfy that program. I've got some other questions here about the printing on the label, and maybe Matt, I'll turn to you for those as well. Can we do an overlaminate that will not affect the print on the label? And can those labels withstand chemical cleanings, for instance, in a hospital environment with alcohol? Maybe I'll ask you both of those.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, when you print these tags with a thermal transfer printer, if you set the printer up right, the ink will key in just below the surface of the face lock. And so you should see perfect performance of the print as long as the printer's set up right, you're using the correct ribbon. And for information on ribbon, please look at our printer guide. However, as you mentioned, if you're cleaning the tags and you're using solvents, that will wipe off the ink. It doesn't matter how well you set it up. If you're in a hospital environment and you have to regularly clean with a solvent, it will wipe the ink off. So in these situations, we can provide you with an over-laminate, and what this does, it's a layer over the top of the print, and it protects the print. So you can clean it with cleaning chemicals, and your print is protected.
Excellent. Yep, that's awesome. And we've done a number of applications like this. I can speak from the sales side that we have a number of customers that order custom laminates, and we're very pleased to handle those applications. Okay, some questions. I'm trying to group a few together here. There's a lot of questions about some of the on-liquid performance that we have, the wine bottles that we showed, and certainly there's other applications that we've done. They've asked to talk a little bit more about labels in liquid applications. So I'll maybe field that one. Our on-liquid applications are really important to us. We've done major programs with blood bags, for instance, using these labels to tag blood supplies. Certainly with alcohols and perfumes, there's a lot of interest in tagging there. So these tags are very much built for and tested for that on-liquid environment, just as much as on metal as we talked about. As Matt explained about the ground plane versus non-ground plane, it's very important if you're looking to tag liquid assets that you choose the ground plane option. The ground plane allows us not to be detuned by the liquid in the container that's behind it. But certainly, if you have an application for tagging liquids, you should be contacting your Omni-ID sales representative and talking about a backplane product and going through testing, and you'll find they perform very, very well. We've sold many, many products in that liquid application. Other questions on the curved surfaces, and I'm grouping a few together here as well, because there's some very specific curved surfaces that people are talking about. Matt, can you go into a little more detail about things to think about when you're tagging a curved surface asset?
Yeah, sure. So when you're tagging the curved surface, as with flat surfaces, you've got to make sure that you clean the surface to achieve the optimum bond strength. Apply them above room temperature. It needs to be above 10 degrees C. Apply a bit of firm pressure to the tag and allow it 24 hours to fully cure, and you should be good to go. We've tested our tags thermally on diameters of 115 millimeters, and we've seen absolutely no issue. The tags have been Halt tested, so for over 700 hours. So we placed these tags in thermal chambers and tested them thermally for over a month, and there's absolutely no degradation in the bond strength at 85 degrees or even at -20. If you do have smaller radiuses, then like we said, just place it 90 degrees along the longitude and it should be okay. If you've got radiuses, diameters smaller than 115, then you've just got to be a little bit careful with the detuning effects. But if it works for you, then it's great.
Yep, absolutely. And we talk about customization of products, but maybe I'll throw in a commercial for our advanced labs. We have tremendous professional services group here in the company spread across our regions. And if you have an asset that you'd specifically like us to do a consulting report on, to take it in, put it in our anechoic chambers, recommend a label placement, recommend the RF approach angles, we're very happy to scan that for you, to create a report for you, and add that to your program. When you're making a presentation to management or to your ops team, it could be a big help to you. So please contact us as well for those kinds of services. We'd be pleased to help with that, especially on curved surfaces or special places like that. A lot of questions about availability, which is really exciting for me from the sales side to see many people want to get their hands on these right away. So the question, are all these labels available now? As Matt mentioned at the beginning, I think that there's only 2 products here that we're currently not shipping, the IQ300 and 500. Everything else that you have seen on the presentation are available immediately, and you can get those products right now. The 300 and 500, we're doing some limited samples and testing now. They'll be available in Q2, which is only a month away, And as we go through that quarter, we'll be putting out samples and volume to various customers. So effectively, for any project that you're teeing up now, they'll be available immediately. It's important to note when you get your samples and when you get your rolls, and there were some questions about this too, that we do oversupply a little bit. We do that so that if you have any voids as you're setting up your printer, or you get any kind of wastage from your cuts, that you still won't be short on your quantity. So we supply about 5% extra on every roll. So the sample rolls will come in quantities of 100 on the roll, and you'll actually be getting 105 on that roll. So just so you understand that little extra bonus that we throw in for you. Next question we have here, what's the lead time for a high volume order, kind of related to the availability? It's important to understand our approach as a true manufacturer of these labels, that we have full capability to manufacture every part of this product. Matt did a good job explaining that process. It means for us strategically, we also follow what we call a mother sheet strategy. A lot of these materials, whether they're adhesives or dielectric fillers or top stock, we have in large mother sheet quantities and can manufacture whichever variant of this family you wish on a fairly short notice. So while we maintain stock of specific high volume parts, we're pretty quick on lead time. What does that mean? I always advise customers to plan on a 4 to 6 week lead time for these products. We quite often can supply much, much faster than that, and many of your orders will be supplied within a couple of days from your order. But you should certainly count on us being able to supply within those numbers of weeks. Some questions on custom encoding. Maybe Matt, you could flip the screen as well. Some custom encoding questions about user memory that you can write to and things you can do with the memory. Matt, could you speak to that a little bit? Security?
Yeah. So, as we discussed, we've got 2 IC options, and that brings different options for encoding. So the R6, you can encode the EPC. It's got a 96-bit EPC. We can encode it for you. So if you know what your start number is, what your stop number is, we can pre-encode those to help you with your deployment. If you need to encode user memory, then you need to go for the 4QT. It's got a full 512-bit user memory. Again, we're more than happy to encode that for you. On the 4QT, it can be permanently locked, it can be temporarily locked, it can be locked with a password. Also, the 4QT has got different data profiles. So you've got public and private data profiles, which means that it's actually got 2 sets of EPCs and 2 sets of user memories, believe it or not. So there's a lot of things you can do with encoding, and it's dependent on your particular application. But if you contact your local sales rep, Omni-ID sales rep, we'd be more than happy to discuss that with you. But we can do the encoding for you. We can lock the tags for you, or you can do that yourself. And for the Monza R6, we can perma-lock. So if you need your Monza R6 perma-locked, that's something that we can do for you. If you need it if you want to do it yourself, we can provide you some guidance. It's a little bit tricky because you need to send a custom command to the tag, but we can provide some guidance on that.
Excellent. Yeah, we do a lot of custom encoding and locking of different data fields. So again, please feel free to talk to us about doing that for you so they arrive ready to go. But of course, you can also do it on site. Matt, we're running close to the end of time. In fact, we are out of time. I'm getting the flag from our organizers here. Perhaps flip to the next screen and I'll just close off. Again, thank you everyone for the time you've taken with us today to look at this significant product launch. If we didn't get to your question, you'll see that we will answer you by email after this webinar. We'll try and make sure we answer every single question. If you have additional questions you didn't feel brave enough to ask here today, please email us and we'll make sure everyone gets an answer to that. We're very excited about working together with you on these applications. But more specifically, with all the questions I've had here on availability and pricing, specific pricing of different products, I really want to refer you to this last slide with our sales offices. Please contact one of your regional sales offices to get initial information, or email us at sales@omniid.com. We'd be happy to answer your questions there. We have a large range of partners, hundreds of partners all over the world that will be close to you as well. We're very happy to make connections for you and set you up with someone that can help you with your application right on your own doorstep as well. With that, I'll turn things back to Mary.
Great. Before you go, in case you didn't notice, there's handouts in the webinar panel. Just click on any one of those to download. They're also located on our website in products and in resources. Please also look for our follow-up email that will include a link to the webinar recording. And just in case you want to review any of the material you missed or simply go over it again. Again, on behalf of Ed and Matt, as well as the rest of the team at Omni-ID, thank you for joining us and taking the time to view our presentation. We look forward to working with you on your on-metal label applications. Have a great day.